Welcome to our weekly reading where we explore all things astrological. We hope you're doing really well and staying safe out there. From our two different points of view in two different locations in the world, we bring to you a unique astrological perspective on what is happening right now across the globe. So here we go. Hi friends, this is Diana in LA, and Cary is back in the UK. Cary, it's so good to see you. We missed you so much.
Hi everyone, glad to be back. And as Keith Richards once said, glad to be here, glad to be anywhere.
And boy, are we anywhere.
We certainly are. It has been an extraordinary week. Just want to say a little thank you to everybody who sent me messages, really appreciated it. And it meant a lot, so thank you.
Good, and I bet it helped a lot too. You know, it was a very harrowing experience that you went through and the world has been going through. And so here we go again with another week. Oh my goodness, it's hard to keep giving these weekly broadcasts with so much difficult news. We just have been having week after week after week of trying times, and it's just the truth. That's what's happening. We're starting off again with our stellium that continues to be with Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn. And this week it ends with the moon conjuncting it. So we're going to have all four planets in a stellium opposing Venus, squaring Mars. So more things are going to come up, more surprises, more news about changes in our world as we've been experiencing. Cary, where are you seeing things from your point of view?
It's been an extraordinary 10 days for me. Everything that we've been talking about on these videos, you made an interesting comment the other day. I might as well have been talking about myself. Because a lot of the things that have happened have been precipitated by some of the planetary activity in conjunction with my chart.
So as you know, at least in Los Angeles, we've been going through a lot of changes here, of course. We've got fires, big ones, up north in California. We had the Democratic National Convention this week. There's just a lot of news, right? A lot of surprising news. And that's part of what are in these energies right now is change, change, change. And it's been such a week of trying to manage ourselves through this week as all these changes are happening. I find people down, and I think a little exhausted. And Cary, you had that experience directly. So what do you feel about that? Like, what can you add to that?
The experience I had was quite extraordinary. I didn't know that I was ill. Totally unaware. Caught me completely by surprise, which is a very Uranian thing. Things coming out of nowhere. And it was quite shocking what happened. And it felt like a storm was coming. And it was shaking my very foundations. And it was interesting because all through this, there's a riff song going through my head, Gimme Shelter by the Rolling Stones. And the first verse of it is, oh, there's a storm threatening my very life today. If I don't get some shelter, oh Lord, I'm going to fade away. And I thought, how profound, because it was shocking. I did get shelter. A very negative situation became very positive, but it occurred to me that that song can apply to everything that's happening right now. It is probably as apt as it was back in 1969 as it is today and as relevant today.
Yeah, because everyone is exhausted from this ongoing storm. I like that word. All those things that we hold so dear are being challenged right now. Venus in Cancer, our homes, our families, our values, our literal house, right? And then the greater house, the White House, right? Venus in Cancer, in an opposition to Jupiter, Pluto, Saturn, and at the end of the week, the moon. And all of that squaring Mars. So it's like we're being held hostage, it feels. Every single subject is being challenged.
A very dear old friend of mine who I've known since 17 made the comment that the Earth seems to be cleansing itself by some of the things that have happened to him on a very personal front. But it also mirrors what's happening on the world front. And when we talk about cleansing, this is what this changing in foundation and structure is all about. And it's very slow, it's very gradual, but it has massive impact. It doesn't necessarily mean it's all doom and gloom. It means we're going through a very, very challenging time, which at round about October will start to change. And what happens on the 3rd of November in America is absolutely huge, because that's going to be setting the scene for more than the next 4 years. So in addition to that, there's, as you mentioned, there's fires in California, there's 2 hurricanes approaching the coast of Florida. These are extraordinary times, you know. So we've got to be very mindful of what's happening at the moment and realize it's not all bad. It's leading to something that could be quite wonderful.
Yes, it's all that Pluto energy, right, is about the underbelly of things and colonics and the cleansing that you're talking about. We are going through a healing crisis, and at the end of it, we're going to have a big choice ahead of us of what kind of world do we want to live in, and that literally is the conversation that is happening around, at least in the United States. What kind of world do we want to live in? And there's very opposing thoughts about that. And to me, what's so interesting is they're not opposing. They are in the detail, but in the big view, it's not opposing at all. People want to feel safe. People want to have enough. People want to be together and somehow cooperate. There's a lot of co-creative thoughts here that actually there's more together than there is apart, but we're finding the detail to parse apart and find the division because of it. And to me, this is so unfortunate, because if we could come together about these issues, these very issues that we're divided about, we're not so far apart as it appears. That's Pluto energy. That's Mars square Pluto energy. That's Mars square Pluto square Saturn square Jupiter energy. So the United States becomes this template in a way of things that are happening everywhere, and personally in our lives too, because I don't know anyone that's not going through something right now.
I can honestly say I've never had a week like I had last week. It was the most extraordinary experience I've ever had. And if I look where the stellium is in regards to my chart, I've got my Mercury in Aries, and it was square, the stellium was squaring my Mercury, and Mars was on top of my Mercury squaring. In addition, I've got my Moon and Jupiter together in Libra, exactly being squared by that stellium. So for me personally, this was absolutely massive. It could have gone one way or the other, but it actually went in the most positive way. And all I can see is, as a result of this, something wonderful has happened from it.
Right, and that is, don't forget, Sun conjunct Uranus, which is the biggest aspect that was happening for you. And so whenever that happens, it's a big shock. It's a big reawakening. And you make it through it or you don't, right? But the good news is, if you do, kind of what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. It can be, and usually is, absolutely life-changing. That's what happened for you. That's what's happening for us. We're all going through sort of a life-changing time right now. And even though it's not necessarily Uranus that's doing this effect on everyone, the Pluto, Jupiter, Saturn conjunction is doing that. And it is a cleansing where we are in a deep healing now to take out the pus out of the wound so that it can heal, really heal from all these pains from our past. We are having this very difficult world conversation.
We are. And life-changing it is. And it's life-changing for everybody. On the world stage, it is extraordinary. You know, you look around you and you see what's going on. I mean, a couple of weeks ago, there was that explosion in Lebanon. What was extraordinary about that was the stellium was exactly on the ascendant the moment that explosion took place, to the degree. Now, that is absolutely extraordinary. And if you look also what's happening out in the Middle East, Israel, for example, has come to an agreement with the United Arab Emirates to work together going forward, which also is absolutely huge when you've got these two opposing countries coming together in the most extraordinary of circumstances. We are really living in extraordinary times. And I think the world at the moment is looking for shelter.
So that's a really good note to end on. Gimme shelter. We need to give ourselves shelter right now. We need to take care of ourselves right now. And we need to take care of each other. This is such an important time in the history of the world. That's why we're doing this right now. And so we'll see you next week with another broadcast of Astrology World.
Bye, everybody. Have a lovely week.